Okay, we're holding now started yesterday a Sichah, which is printed in Likkutei Zion, Parshas Boy, Sif Tes. Das was mit der Mann die Gula asida bei Geulas Mitzrayim may nicht nur as mis media an inyan was wird sein basit. The fact that the Mashiach come was mentioned at the time of the redemption from Egypt doesn't only tell us what's going to be when Mashiach comes, nor is euch an esinas keach arab zu tragen das in Avedas Adam Bahiva. As gleich betchilas Aveda Golas Mitzrayim soll sein a me'ein from Gula Asida. So this knowledge that we know what's going to be when Mashiach comes, it's not only to tell us what's going to transpire, but in addition to that, it's supposed to bolster a person's Aveda in the present. Immediately at the outset of his Aveda, a person should already experience this, what's going to be when Mashiach comes. Seemingly you can ask, when there is noch betokvoi, since we're holding at the beginning of the Aveda, and the Ra is still very, very strong, we can zayin afila me'ein for Gula Asida. So how is it going to be even a me'ein of when Mashiach comes? What's in Yana is hisapcha as is nitadkin al. If the idea of when Mashiach comes is there's going to be a total transformation, a total hisapcha. So and the idea of Golas Mitzrayim is the idea of the beginning of Golas Mitzrayim when the Ra is still evil is the idea of hiskafia. So how is it possible at the time of hiskafia to even think about the idea of hisapcha? So the Rebbe says like this, page 127. The beer and then the explanation is as follows: even though at the beginning of a person's aveda, the bittul of evil existence is not, it's still feasible. It's not feasible. And that's why the aveda focuses through battle on Kabbalah soul, as we explained in Sifei. Still, this bittul on Kabbalah soul should not only be out of self-discipline, because that's what you need to do. Rather, the bittul itself has to be connected with the person's selfhood. Meaning the person's intellect and emotions should also agree with this bittul in Kabbalah soul. What's done is the Aveda from Kabbalah soul, and then comes out that the Aveda of Kabbalah soul is performed with a gishmak, you enjoy it. So the reason why by the Golas Mitzrayim, even though it's the idea of, we said Iskafia, the idea of Kabbalah soul, but nevertheless, why do we mention the Gula Asida? Because the Aveda is that even at that time, we should, the Kabbalah soul and the bittul should be not in a way of, because I'm just doing that, even though my seichel and midas don't understand. Rather, you should bring yourself to a state that the intellect and the emotions agree to the bittul and Kabbalah soul, so that when you're doing the Kabbalah soul, it's done with a geshmak. Das heißt, meaning, as the Gula Asida should be Golas Mitzrayim is niti avodah from seichel midas b'fnei atzmi. Not that the Mashiach comes, the process of Mitzrayim does not refer to the avodah of Kabbalah seichel and midas. What's bring save to hisapcha kanal sefei, which eventually brings to hisapcha. Nor a prat and avodah seiskaf the Golas Mitzrayim as the avodah of Kabbalah soul is mitech tainig. Rather, that means that the avodah of iskafia should constitute the avodah of Kabbalah soul should be with pleasure. The same applies to the Golas Mitzrayim being commemorated when Mashiach comes as a prat in the Gula Asida. It's a component within the Gula Asida. The Igil is the Sichos Metzias Adam Hisapcho. meaning the primary advantage in when Mashiach comes will be the refinement of a person's selfhood, which is Hisabcha. Now, the Sichos wird sein nicht modud umugbo beleis if as ifel vifel mitzad sein mitzias is sich mizuchach. Rather, but this refinement will not be measured or limited by how much he can refine himself, nor from the medidas from sein mitzias malas abitul. Rather, we'll exceed the limitation of his mitzias, having this boundless bittul associated with the quality of bittul. Yud. Das ist echt das Wort, für was die Matzah, was Jeden haben gegessen mit Mitzrayim, als Achana zu ist. Mitzrayim hat gekannt sein, Matzah Ashira. Based on this, we can clarify where the matzah that the Yidden ate in Mitzrayim to prepare, like we said, for the exodus of Mitzrayim could be matzah Ashira, enriched matzah. And Aber lidachisa hat es gemuzayin a matzah shetzrich hashimar. On the other hand, you have to have a matzah that required guarding. You needed to have both. You needed to have a matzah. You could have had matzah ashira, matzah that was enriched. On the other hand, you needed to have shimmer as well. It needed to require guarding. Matzah, the scholars from Gulas Hasidim in Gulas Mitzrayim is da an ort for matzah ashir eichem Mitzrayim. Again, mitzad the scholars from Gulas Hasidim Gulas Mitzrayim is da an ort for matzah ashir eichem Mitzrayim. So he says like this: since the Gula Asida was incorporated in the redemption of Mitzrayim, so eating enriched matzah was also possible while in Mitzrayim. Aber das was in Mitzrayim ken sein am Ende Asid is nor in dem Prat von Ashira. However, this that in Mitzrayim you can have a Me'ein de Asid is only in the detail of Ashira, as the Kabbalah so gufel so sein mit der Tam Geschmack, which means that in the time of Mitzrayim, which is the time of Kabbalah Soil, it could be with a Geschmack. However, in the time of Mitzrayim, the idea of Yisabcha was not possible. Was das can nicht sein, wenn der Ra is noch betukve. It's not possible to have the idea of Yisabcha while the evil is still very strong. Yud Aleph. Das ist aber shaykh nor wenn is noch given in Mitzrayim. All this was true, however, when the Yidden were in Mitzrayim, far the Gula before the Gula. Aber race gain dik from Mitzrayim nach the Gula. However, going out of Mitzrayim after the Gula, now the matzah that the Yidden ate while they were departing on Mitzrayim after the redemption, as well as the matzah eaten at the Seder, which commemorates the Exodus of Mitzrayim, has to be specifically lechem eini, the bread of poverty. Why is that? To explain. Durch Yitzias Mitzrayim hat sich aufgetan als euch seiendig, als Jiden seinen geworden ois avdei pari und seinen geworden avdei Hashem. The Egyptian, the Exodus, brought about a new state in which the Yidden were no longer pari servants. Instead, they became Hashem's servants. In other words, sie haben damals gehalten by Kabbalah's Machus Yisparach that they had reached the level of accepting Hashem's Malchus. Was kommt frier Fardem Kabbalah Soul auf zu Mekayim sein die Tziva Hashem, which this precedes the Kabbalah Soul required to fulfill Hashem's command. Koloshen Chazal, as the Chazal say, Yikabal Lov O Malchus Shemayim Tchila, V'achar Yikabal Lov O Mitzvos. As Chazal say, first accept the yoke of Hashem's sovereignty, and only then accept upon yourself the yoke of performing mitzvahs. Und in dem tor sich nicht an einmischen an inyan von Metzias Adam. And a person's Metzias cannot be mixed in his Avodah. Al derech vi Chazal zogin, the Chazal say, as man the mochik b'mochik kamei malka is an inish der hepech hachaim. It's like it says that the penalty of just gesturing in front of the king is death. The far tor in them need sein der tam und geschmack von matzah ashir. Therefore, you cannot have the tam or enjoyment of matzah ashira It doesn't belong in this Aveda. Why? Because the only way to actually get this the Aveda over here of Kabbalah soil is only through the level of Lechem Eini, which is Bittul Batachlis, the